Hello again, and I hope that you are enjoying this video blog series so far, and that you are certainly taking the time to apply what you're learning. That is the most important thing. We can get understanding only by applying the wisdom that we learn. So it makes no sense to go through all of this and just read things without actually stepping out and doing something with it. So I think that day two was so important, and that if you can look at your customer each time as being first and last, being so very important to your business, then you cannot help but treat them good. Um, and and that only comes from being able to take your ego out of the equation, being able to say, hey, it isn't even about me. This has nothing to do with me personally. This is about business, and I'm here to make a profit. I'm here to get something done, to accomplish something. And my time here is going to be well spent, and I'm going to serve each and every person I come in contact with dignity. I'm going to represent myself well in this situation. And if for some reason they don't receive it, then we'll talk about that later. But today we're going to talk about knowing your product. And this is a story that I've told over and over again. And I believe I wrote about it even on my blog on reallyleah.com, if you check that out. But I'm going to tell it to you again. So it's essentially a scenario. And I deal with a lot of anecdotes in this book, and I believe this is the first one. So on day 3, know your product. One evening, I was invited to share in a celebratory occasion with some new friends at a restaurant in downtown Decatur, Georgia. And I must admit that the service provided by Holly, the waitress, made me feel slightly uncomfortable. But not for the reasons you might think. She was just different in a good way. She was energetic, she was sociable with good timing, but most significantly, she was knowledgeable. It was like she had studied that menu upside down and backwards. And the way she added her personality into the description was like watching a performance on stage where the lines were so well rehearsed that you forgot it was only a play. Seriously, whenever she would complete her spiel based on our questions about food or drinks, and we had a pretty good sized group, but my table mates and I would look at each other like, is Holly real? Is she real? This young lady was thorough with a capital T. Not perfect, but overall, she provided outstanding customer service. I did not ask her how long she had worked at this particular spot. Couldn't have been too long, since Leon's full service restaurant at that time had only been opened for a few months prior to our visit. But whatever they do for training deserves a big red A+. Holly was great. It might be frightening in the beginning, but the world could use more Hollies around and less hustlers. Holly is a refreshing example of exceptional product knowledge. Who would not prefer the person who gives all the pertinent facts so you can make an informed decision over the guy who just wants to hurry up, lady, and buy something? Be it a car, health insurance, or a hot dog. Give the customer the time they need to make a decision. If you have to leave them with their thoughts, that's fine too. But never try to snow a person with your lack of knowledge and heightened hustler moves. You know who I'm talking about. How preposterous it is for a consumer to buy or buy into something when the person sharing the information does not have a clue what they're talking about. They sound good and they may even look good, Usually they do if they're a salesperson. But there is nothing there, nothing of substance. Either they try to overtalk you because they don't know, or they're looking at you blankly to give them the answer. Do yourself a favor. Avoid embarrassment and take some time to get familiar with your products or services, whatever it is. Don't be the poor guy who is reading specifications to the consumer that the consumer could read to themselves. Consumers are not illiterate, for the most part. They are only untried. A better practice in this scenario is to provide a demonstration or discuss someone else's experience. That always works for me. I want to know how somebody else, used the product or how beneficial a service it was to the lady over on the other side of town. Give me some examples of why I should buy into this. The bottom line is if any employee or a supplier cannot articulate why a purchase should be made, then the customer, consumer, whomever is going to have a hard time trusting that person's recommendation. Just imagine if Holly had never participated in the tastings of Leon's assortment of sweets. She would never have been able to wow us with her interpretation of each dessert. That was incredible. Since most people work with the general public, it would be wise to learn something from Holly and become energized aficionados of the products and services you provide. And if you think you know it all, here's a free marketing tip. Put a new spin on it by learning to describe it from another perspective. Keeping yourselves knowledgeable about your products and services will most assuredly build your confidence, your customers' trust, and your profits. Simple enough? That's day 3. Today, I want you to apply what you've heard, what you've hopefully learned, in this way. I want you to pick a product or a service and research it upside down and backwards, like Holly did that menu. Take this product or service and make it your product of the week. If you're already in sales, you probably have a product of the week. Maybe there's something that your manager or your supervisor is concentrating on. So whatever that is, just take it up, another notch. Learn everything you can about it. Learn things that maybe they don't even know about it. Help your job also. It's a good job security tip. It will build your confidence in your product. And again, it will build your customers' trust in you. Why would I want to go somewhere else when I know you know everything there is to know about that product or service? Anyway, Shakespeare says, "To thine own self be true." You feel better when you know more. And your customer feels better when they can trust you and they can trust the information that you provide. Have a superb customer service day, and I'll see you tomorrow.